Oh, shit, we're live. I'm swearing right away. These people make me want to swear. Oh, cool. Yeah, I gotta adjust something. We're here live, folks. We're here live. Appreciate you. This isn't going to be as long as last week. All right, nice super fade. Here we go. All right, we're here live. Thank you. It is the Burning River Browns Talk here on the Fanatical Elves Network, a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. With me today is Steve Hemrich.
Yes, sir.
Hemrich.
Yes, sir.
I always mess up your name. Sorry about that. But Steve, good friend of the show, special guest. Sherry's out sick. She's fine. She'll be fine. She'll be back next week. So she just wasn't feeling good. So she goes, can I get Steve to fill in? I said, of course, Steve would be happy to. So we're here to talk the fallout from the Browns draft, the national media bias, people thinking Nick Chubb is 1 foot out the door and 1 foot in Chicago. And kind of because Jerome Ford took a pay cut today, but I saw something different, something contradicting that, meaning that Ford will stay. It's just, I saw some different information about that. We could talk about that. Anything else going on with the Cavs? Because depending on what happens tonight will be depending on the tip-off for Sunday, because I think if there's a Game 7 in that series between Golden State and Houston, Cavs tip-off will be at 6 o'clock on Sunday. But if there isn't a Game 7, it'll be at 8 o'clock on Sunday. And it'll be in Cleveland at the Rocket Arena downtown. So, Steve, thanks for joining us. Anything you need to plug, my friend?
No, sir. I think you're pretty well at it there. I appreciate you having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I love
Sorry
it.
that Sherry couldn't be here, but
we had a blast last week. A blast last week at the draft, night 2 of the draft. Now, night 1, you were on vacation with your wife, right?
Yep.
Okay, he was on vacation with wifey, so he joined us from his vacation. I think, were you in Myrtle Beach?
North Myrtle Beach.
So you're South Carolina. Perfect. I've been there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Love
it's
Myrtle
completely different than Myrtle Beach. Everybody says, oh, Myrtle Beach. It's like, no, it's 30, 40 miles north. It's a lot quieter.
A lot less touristy.
Well, although we timed it pretty crappy because it was high school. I think they had prom weekend or something. So on the last weekend, Saturday, we get down to the beach. Or I'm sorry, it was the first night was Friday. Yeah. There must have been about 100 kids there. I'm like, what? They were good kids.
Yeah.
So they seemed like they were having fun. They weren't, too crazy or anything.
It reminds me when I was at the YMCA in Chardon working out. I was done with the clips on a bar. Pearl bar. So I gave it to these 2 teenagers that were lifting on the bench press. I said, here, you can use these clips if you want. He goes, are you sure you're done with them, sir? I'm like,
right.
I just looked at him. I was like, mother.
Right.
Sir, I'll take it.
We have a boat, and I had a guy do our boat. Was waxing it for me, and he kept calling me sir. I'm like, please stop. My name's Steve. And then finally, I'm like, how old are you? He's like, I'm 48. I'm like, dude, I'm a few years older than you.
Yeah.
Just call me Steve. I appreciate it. I used to do the same thing, but yeah, hearing the sir is a little weird now.
Well, when they're teenagers, I'm at least 30 years older than them. At least. I'm going to be 52 next month, so it's just, I'll take it. I'm like, okay, cool. I got it. All right, it's fine.
Nice to show some respect, so I get it. I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's fine. But anyway, speaking of plugging, all right, check out all my stuff where I do Stirring the Pot with Johnny Cleveland every other Monday. The next show for Johnny Cleveland and I, we're doing a special schedule release on May 14th, which is a Wednesday night. Usually we do Monday nights, but we're going to do a schedule release show that night, which will be at 9:15. And also check out the Sunday Stew Pot with myself and Corey Castle. That's on Rumble every Sunday. It's not really sports related. It's more topical related and entertainment, but I have fun doing the show with him. You always see the reels out there. And check out the sponsor, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Click in the lead details of the show. Click on there, order up some good coffee. It's from Columbus, Ohio. And tell them that Lou sent you. You got to go tell them Lou sent you. Hey, before we go any further, let's just take a moment here to pause for a word from our sponsors. All right, I got it out of the way. I didn't need Sherry to remind me. Isn't that a
Early,
beautiful thing? Got it. Just get it out
I
of the
would
way.
have.
Just
Yes,
forget it.
sir.
Get it out of
Just
the
for
way.
the
That's a
record,
good one.
it's
I used to
top of
forget all
the
the time.
top of the 7th, 3-3 Guardians and Blue Jays with 2 outs, men on first and second.
Is it in Toronto or Cleveland?
It's in Toronto.
That's okay. Nice. Oh, we can also talk. You know what? We're going to talk about the draft and the follow up. But there's some stuff about the stadium that's been happening with the new Brown Stadium, and I kind of want to make out some points here because I think there was I-Team at Channel 8 did a recent story a few days ago about pretty much how the city of Brook Park's already doing surveys and assessments of the traffic patterns and what they're going to have to do structurally with widening Angle Road, adding an off ramp, just having the infrastructure to support the traffic to there. So that's already being done. Plus, what's the guy's name? The Cuyahoga County executive. Now, are you in Lake County, Steve?
Yeah, I'm in Lake County, but I saw something too on one of the other news stations, him talking about this again, and I can't remember.
Cuyahoga County executive, was it running?
Yeah, and
He's asking for taxpayer money, $350 million to renovate the current stadium. Remember how
yeah.
You remember how they're screaming no taxpayer money for the stadium? No. Well, look what they're going to do if they stay downtown and stay in that stadium and renovate, basically polish a turd is what they're going to do. It's going to cost taxpayer money for something that sits empty 350 days out of the year.
They make it so complicated. Plus, I don't understand. You were one of the first ones I remember hearing when you kind of broke down how it's actually being financed.
Yeah.
Yet there's still people to this day saying that taxpayers are paying for half of it, and it's like
not even close. Not even close.
It's so frustrating. And
well, yeah, it's not even. And I'm showing numbers. I actually got into a Twitter spat with somebody about it. I'm not going to say his name, and I like him. He's a guy I like, but it's just he actually said, "Well, I hope it fails," because he knew I was right. He just says, I hope it fails, and I hope when we host the Super Bowl, Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl. He said something like that. I'm like, what, dude, what's wrong with you?
Right.
I mean, you claim to be a fan and you say stuff like that. It's like, geez. So, yeah, that's just, why are you even a fan?
How are they even gonna renovate that? You know, because Haslam came out and said the one time, you know, well, if they didn't get the approval, which did get passed by the one party, now it's going on to the next step. But if they didn't, they would just renovate the other, the existing stadium. I don't understand how they would do that though, and when and where would the Browns play? I mean, what type of renovations? You brought up a point I had never heard before. I never realized that stadium was built under the existing foundation.
Yep.
I never knew that.
And there's engineers that say that foundation currently doesn't have another 20 years on it. They'd be lucky. Wow. So the city knows this. The city knows this. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know the deal.
We're old enough. I mean, how long have they been talking about that lakefront and doing stuff? I can remember and then nothing. So we'll see. Hopefully it gets done, but something's got to happen soon because I think you even mapped out a timeline.
Yeah. Well, what's going on is that it's in the state budget. The state General Assembly is discussing it. The I-Team report was that they were talking about what the city of Brook Park's already doing to prepare. So the city of Brook Park knows it's coming. Mm-hmm. And this Cuyahoga County executive was pounding his fist saying no taxpayer money for stadiums. Now he's asking to renovate a stadium that doesn't have a foundation that's going to last another 20 years. That was built in a rush, and pretty much it sits empty, which it's just like, dude, read the room. But most people, once you go through the facts of everything, hang on, Ethan, thank you. Hold on. Ethan, yes, June 30th. I'm about to get to that. June 30th is the state of Ohio his budget is due. So then now they're trying to push taxpayer money. Thanks, Ethan. So right now the state's going back and forth on it, and things are being negotiated. And I like what Haslam said in the I-Team report, because he said, well, we have our idea on how to finance it, and the governor, DeWine, has his idea how to finance it. And it's kind of like they're negotiating. They're both negotiating it. Like, in other words, they're talking about, okay, can we do it this way? Can we do it that way? Can we do a little bit this way, a little bit that way? It's a give and take. And Haslam sounded flexible, and so did Governor DeWine. So that's how business is done. So I'm sorry, guys, but it's going to happen. We'll know June 30th when the state budget is passed, because it's due. The state of Ohio budget is due June 30th. Today is May 2nd, so we'll know within 2 months. And they're planning on breaking ground within once that goes through, they plan on breaking ground early 2026. And they plan on opening that stadium preseason, which would be August 2029.
2029. Because the lease expires at the end of the 28 season, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So you got 25, 26, 27, 28. We got 4 more years in that place. I think it's going to happen. If I was a betting man, because based on the way they're talking about it, because they're looking at taking the state's loaning the money, as well as the county and the city were going to invest, and it was $300 million each. The reason why they said that. What is that? Yeah, Chris Ronan. That's his name. Yes. Thanks, Brian. Chris Ronan is the Cuyahoga County executive that's asking for taxpayer money. The reason I've argued this with people too about the stadium. I said, look, if you want Haslam to pay for all of it, great. Let him do it. But he shouldn't have to pay any taxes. If he's investing and taking all the risk, then why do they have to collect taxes? Why do they get to collect the taxes? You're telling them to take all that risk and they're not going to have any skin in the game?
Yeah.
It's basically 10%. Essentially, it's 10%. Five from the city, 5 from the county, and maybe another 10 from the state in a bond loan. So that's really what it is.
Now, what's the deal? Washington, they just announced they're doing theirs, right? Wasn't there? Okay.
And a lot of it's privately funded. I think
is it? That's
over 75% of it is, or something. It's a lot more than ours. But I don't know if they're building a dome or not. I'm not.
I thought it was. I saw one rendering where it was weird. It looked like there's like 6 tiers to it. It looked
okay. I haven't seen any renderings. Now, is this going to be in DC?
Yeah, because actually the one side they showed clear, and like I thought, and I hope I get the building right, was it the U.S. Capitol or something? You could see through the one side at a distance, which that kind of was cool. But if you get a chance, look, it was just weird how they had the different levels to it. Like I said, I think there was like 5 or 6 levels, but the way the rendering was, it just looked awkward. But
right,
we'll see. Who was Jones built his? Did he pay for all that himself when he did Dallas?
I couldn't tell you. I don't think so, because I had Mike Davis on from Dallas.
Okay,
part of the effort, and I don't think he paid for all of it. He paid for some of it, but not all of it.
Okay,
hold on. What it said? The mock-ups indicate dome, and it will be the site of the current RFK, I believe. Well, where do they play now? They play somewhere else in They play in Landover, Maryland, don't they? They don't play in DC.
I thought it was.
I'd have to say, hey, anybody out? You're usually my crack research guy, Steve. so we'll have somebody else do it. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the stadium, guys. Pay attention, June 30th. If I was a betting man, I'd say 90% chance it's going to go through. But
they're playing at Northwest Stadium, according to Google, which
I
is
heard
in Landover, Maryland.
Yeah, it's not in DC. Landover, Maryland is correct. Okay, Ethan was actually there last year. He was telling me about it when he was at the Journey concert with me.
Okay,
and he said he was just talking about it. From what I heard, that stadium's a dump. Washington's is like one of the worst, if not the worst. Well, Ethan, we'll just tell you right there. It is an SHIT hole. There you go. It's a dump. I mean, our stadium, there's problems with it. It was built in a rush.
Yeah.
And it was built on an old foundation. I've tried to explain this to people, and it's just like, just listen to me. Like, just listen.
It still kind of blows me away, though. I mean, we're used to the old municipal stadium. That thing was around for what, 70, 80 years? 60 years. 1920s or something?
1930s, early 1930s.
But then you hear, like, I mean, frustrating for me is when they talked about this, our current stadium, it's 30 years old, and they're like, oh, it's falling apart. It's like, what? Back in the day, granted, old municipal was falling apart, but it sounds weird when they say, I mean, I look at Progressive Field. It's amazing how you go there. I worked there the first year it opened up. I did the concession stuff. I worked down in the warehouse where we get all the merchandise, we get it all set up, out to all the kiosks. Back then they actually had stores at the malls and stuff. We distribute everything. But from when that was built to today, that still feels brand new and beautiful. Now
It's
granted,
well maintained. It's well maintained.
over the years they've done, many projects to it, but it's amazing how beautiful that stadium still is.
It's
or
30 years
ballpark.
old. Yeah, that opened in '94. I remember when I first went there and I walked, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Right?
this is compared to the old stadium, municipal stadium. It was like, oh.
Well, that's all we grew up with. So you remember the Browns games? You see the infield from the baseball team and stuff,
It's
and
terrible.
then you go over to at the time Jacobs Field, and I was the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was like wow. And I remember just looking through here and just having like wow, there's no pillars in the way. This is
right.
Awesome. Just stuff like that.
That is so true.
That was so true. Yeah, so we have an opportunity with this dome to do something. I think getting off from that lakefront area. I think and believe it or not, this is the best thing this could happen for this team in this city, and let the city of Cleveland let them figure it out, because you know what, they had decades to figure it out. Now they're trying to play victim and they're full of shit. I invite them to come on here. I'll talk to I'll cut them to ribbons. I'm like, all right, what about this, and this? Okay,
I don't want to hear that.
No, and yeah.
I'd love for it to stay downtown Cleveland somewhere. I've always thought the
troughs. Oh, the trough urinals. The trough urinals. There's always some guy passed out in it and everybody's peeing on him.
Right.
It was like well, I paint a good image, don't I?
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. What you were saying, Steve?
I forgot actually.
Oh, it's okay. But we can shift gears to the draft now. No, we can't. So I was sitting next to Ethan, or no, I was sitting by. I think Sherry was between us, and when we saw Journey, everybody was happy. Everybody's hyped up. We're picking second. We're ready to go. We're getting Travis Hunter. Well, trade. And then there's like everybody's looking at their phones, and Mary Kay Cabot's talking about a trade's going to happen. A trade's going to happen. And I was like, oh, well, I'll believe it when I see it. And I just, we had a trade. Ethan, I love you, man, but I don't mean to throw you in the bus, but he was having a meltdown. He was having a complete meltdown. Yeah. But I was trying to be the sensible one. I've had meltdowns. Trust me. I've lost my shit on times. All I said was like, okay, what did we get? What's the trade? What do we get in return? What do we do? And then once we heard the details, I'm like, oh, we got a high second round pick. We got a first round pick next year. All right.
And then we 3 spots back.
We move 3 spots back and we get Mason Graham. I'm like, the play next to Myles Garrett along with Michael Hall. And I think Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright, they're gonna be good.
Yeah.
On the edge. So I'm not too worried about it. I thought it was a good trade and a good draft pick. And I said, okay. I think once he calmed down, he was fine. He was upset because I want to win now. Everybody wants to win. Yeah.
I think especially the last couple weeks going into the draft, I think it had become pretty clear, it seemed to be pretty clear that if they were staying there, it was Travis Hunter. So I think everybody was, a lot of fans were geeked up on, hey, we're going to get Travis Hunter. And most people said they felt he was the best player in the draft. So, I get it. I personally wasn't. I like the trade as well. To move only 3 spots back, for me, the whole thing, and we all know it, we need a quarterback. Until we get that franchise quarterback, we're gonna be how we are. And to move 3 spots back to get early second round pick this year and the number 1 next year,
turned out to be Judkins. Yep.
And most people had Mason as the 4th or 5th rated player in their, draft. So you're getting, it's not the sexy pick, it's a defensive tackle. So, I get it, but, I don't know. I like the trade myself. But the problem is we've done this before and get multiple draft picks. And then the next year they bomb on those picks. It's like, well, great. And I understand the other side of the argument of, you're passing up on these blue chip prospects, because you're getting multiple picks, but you never hit on them is I think the thinking of some fans.
Right. I would say, well, they didn't have a first round pick or multiple first round picks for the last 3 years until this year. And if we got to root for Jacksonville to lose, that's the thing. That's the thing we have to do. But what we got so far is we got Quinshon Judkins, which I think he's a great pick.
I like him a lot.
The Schlesinger pick, I thought that from what I'm hearing, he's the second rated linebacker. He's second. We also signed Jerome Baker too in
Yeah.
free agency. So
That one surprised me a little bit going linebacker. But after I read a little bit more, you're right. I think they had Campbell as the best linebacker, and that, and then Carson was second best. It is a need. I mean, typical Browns. I mean, I think most people thought going into it, we need to shore up our offense. Our offense, we haven't scored any points, and the first 2 picks were defense, but they're 2 good players. So,
then we had 5 picks, 5 more picks after Quinshon Judkins. We had a 3rd round pick. We had 2 3rd round picks. The first 3rd round pick was the Harold Fanon Jr. From Bowling Green, which I was mentioning that throughout the whole night. I said we get this guy, the most productive tight end in FBS history.
Well, it's funny. I remember that's when I was on with you guys during the draft, and we were actually before that pick. We're like, "Oh, what are you guys thinking?" I was looking at the best available. I'm like, "Oh, Fanon's out there." I had heard a lot about him, and then lo and behold, remember they go and announce it, like, there it is. So that pick, I love that pick. I pulled up something that he was the most productive tight end in FBS last season.
Upon further, I love Ethan. He did. It took him. By the time we were walking back, he calmed down. He
did he
chilled
go
out.
Nuclear?
Not quite. Not quite. He was close. I had to call him. I had to talk him off the ledge. It's like, bro. It's okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Did you see on a sidetrack? Did you see there was some video? I think it was current JOK at the facilities working out.
I don't know if it was, I saw him walking to it, but I didn't see him if he was working. Was he actually working?
I thought he was doing some type of
Nick Chubb was doing working out. I saw that.
I see. Yeah.
Judkins, Fannin, Sampkins. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sampson. Yeah. Yeah. Dylan Sampson. That one that surprised me. He was in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And that I was like, when I heard what we got him, I'm like, whoa, he was available. I thought he was still on the board. I was like, well, we got him. I was like surprised. Doing a little and Fannon's going to be great, because those guys are going to help right away. Absolutely. Obviously, everybody's talking quarterbacks in these drafts, and I remember you telling me that night was like, well, tell me, Mr. Positive, how to do a spin on this
when they took Gabriel.
When they took Dylan Gabriel, and what did I do? I didn't say it. I didn't spin it. I just read his stats.
Yeah.
I just let me do this. Let me pull something up here. This is interesting. I was doing my own little bit of research before. I'm going to pull up his stats.
Okay.
On his 2 games against who's arguably the best defense in college football last year was Ohio State.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say that?
One at the top, I would think.
One of the top. They're probably the closest to an NFL defense you'll see. All right. Stats from the 32-31 victory in October of 2024. Dylan Gabriel. All right. He had 23 completions and 34 attempts for a 67.6 completion percentage, 341 yards. And he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. His QB rating was 171.3.
Yeah.
That's a really good game. Okay, let's go to the Rose Bowl when Ohio State kicked the shit out of them. All right, let's just do that, because the Rose Bowl, I remember watching that game. Okay, Rose Bowl. Let's do this. I'm going to read Quinshon Judkins stats too.
Okay.
From those games, including the national championship game. Dylan Gabriel was 29 for 41. All right. Hold on. Let me do this. Ethan's doing this. All right. Stretching and such. Not sure what he really means, but it's good to see him in the facility. Okay. He was there stretching. Okay. And let me see. Defensive OSU improved a lot after that, to be honest. Okay. Yeah. I'm doing the Rose Bowl now. So this is what he did in the Rose Bowl, Ethan. This is when Ohio State was playing after the Michigan loss, like a pissed off team. Because that's when I saw them play Tennessee, I was like, oh, this team's angry. As soon as I started, I was like, damn. I was like, yeah, because it was almost like that was like the best thing that happened to him, because they just went on a tear. So, okay, all right, he was 29 for 41, 29 attempts, 29 completions for 41 attempts, for completion percentage of 70.7, 299 yards. He was 1 yard short of 300. And let me see, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 8 times.
Yeah,
that was it. But his QB rating was 148.1. Still,
okay.
So that's
numbers.
Very. That's against Ohio, and they lost that game, if I'm not mistaken, 41-21. It was a 20-point loss, but you're talking, it was like 34-8 at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
we were blowing them out, and then a little bit of a comeback that second half, but
yeah, they had to show some pride. I mean, that's what they were doing. But let me read the Rose Bowl stats for Quinshon Judkins, which your jaw is about to drop. 17 rushes for 85 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry, and his long in that game was 19. Travion Henderson had 8 rushes for 94 yards, but he averaged 11.8 yards a carry. He had 2 touchdowns, where Judkins had no touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, and Henderson had a long run of 66 yards.
Okay.
But that's just let me look at the national championship game against Notre Dame. How did Judkins do? I mean, these are big time college games. So,
oh yeah, Judkins scored in that championship game, I thought.
He had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He had 11 rushes for 100 yards, 9.1 yards average, 2 touchdowns, and a long run for 70 yards.
Okay. Yeah, I liked him. He was my hope going in. We all knew we needed a running back. I would have been ecstatic. I was hoping we'd get either Henderson
or Judkins.
Henderson, I was slightly higher on just because he's more of a complete back. Some of the film I saw with him and shows he's also really good at pass protection. Can catch. He's just a complete back, and most people feel his best is still to come. But Judkins, man, he's a heck of a runner. What surprised me is when I saw his 40 time. You knew he's a big, strong, physical back, kind of like a Kareem Hunt style. But he ran like a 4.48, or it was into 4.4s, and I didn't realize he was that fast. So he's got some speed. He's not slow.
Ethan, you talking about Dylan Gabriel. He's also too short for many rides at Cedar Point. He's 5'11". That's what he measured at the combine, was 5'11". He's 1 inch taller than Bryce Young and Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit more acceptable, the size. I mean, before you'd never think of taking a quarterback 6 foot or less. You're seeing it a little bit more
back in the day. There's some outliers, but
yeah. I mean, Brian Sipe wasn't that big either. Wasn't Brian Sipe only about 6 foot or something like that? He wasn't a big.
No, he wasn't tall.
I think nobody was talking about him. I watched some of this stuff. I like the NFL Network and Daniel Jeremiah. I like a lot. He was a former Brown scout at one point.
Oh,
he was with Baltimore, Cleveland, and then Philly, and then was on the NFL Network, and then kind of took over from Mayock as their Mel Kiper.
Who wants to be Mel Kiper, right?
Right. Oh, that guy went nuts, especially the first day with nobody taking Shedeur. Of course, you know what he gave the Browns as a grade for the draft? Did you see that?
No.
Kiper gave him an A+.
Huh?
And it was because Shedeur. He felt Shedeur was the number 1 quarterback. He was going crazy most of the first day of the draft about how he couldn't believe nobody had taken him. I saw a clip of it. He went during a conversation with the guys. He went off about how NFL can't evaluate quarterbacks and stuff. And he loves himself some Shedeur for some reason.
Yeah. Just Quinshon Judkins, Texas Cotton Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, only 9 rushes for 36 yards, and that was 4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, and a long run of 9 yards. See, but Henderson only had 6 rushes in that game. I mean, they didn't run the ball that much.
No.
Yeah, there's only 24 rushes total between 4 backs because Will Howard had 7 runs himself.
Yeah, so, the fact that we got both of those backs in that draft. I mean, most things I saw, I know I had it. As far as the running backs go, they had what I saw anyway was Judkins rated the 4th back in most people. A lot of people, of course, you had Gente, Hampton, and then I've seen it kind of back and forth. Henderson and Judkins as the 3rd or 4th best back, and then I saw Sampson as high as the 6th rated back. So like you said, the fact that he was still there, we knew this was a deep running back class. The fact that you got 2 of the top 6 backs in this draft.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about a little bit. I just saw it before I joined you. And I missed it earlier. If I understand it correctly, so Ford redid his contract and it's taking about half the money.
Guaranteed. You half guaranteed, yeah.
Okay. I thought I saw Well, and this is what doesn't make sense because I think your friend of the show, Jack Duffin, I
Jack
think
Duffin.
Mary Kay said something about this signals the end for Chubb, but yet Duff,
That's what everybody's piggybacking on what she said. And
yeah, but I
don't
think
get me
Jack
wrong.
said something different. Like
I
he
got it
doesn't
right
see
here. What he said. I have it right here. Yeah, he said Ford was never making the roster at 3.406 mil in 1 year. He knew this and why his camp agreed to 1.7 mil 1 year deal. This can all be traded to a new team with no dead cap from the 1.75 mil. So he's on the team or traded, no cut.
Right, and if anything, it makes him more attractive for trade potentially.
Yeah,
if they wanted, if that was what they were thinking.
But the thing with Chubb, it's up to him. It's entirely up to him. He would have more of an opportunity to get more carries at Chicago than he would here.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's just like we can only feed him so much. We'd like to keep him. We'd like to do that. But business-wise for him, if he's going to be a feature back, he thinks he's a feature back. He wants to prove himself as a feature back, that his injuries are good and he's fine. Chicago would be the place to go for him.
Yeah.
But that's just being honest. It's just like I want him to stay. I want.
That's a tough one. You got a guy like that, who generally is a good guy.
Yeah,
gave his heart to the city, loves the city, and was one of the best running backs. And to see those injuries just shorten that career so bad. I didn't want him to go either. I'm like, you got to resign this guy. But taking a step back, looking, he would be probably the third back. I mean,
he would be, there would be a running back by committee with 3 guys.
Yeah.
And he would maybe get 7 or to 10 carries a game, where he could play in Chicago and get 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I guess let me ask you, what would be worse, to keep him here and see him struggle or get hurt again, or to watch him go to like a Chicago and flourish? What do you think would be tougher for you to see?
I'd be happy for him.
Would you?
I would be. Yeah.
I'd be happy for the person. I think I'd be pissed as a fan, like, great, another guy we let go,
Yeah, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that no matter what. We don't keep people. Well, the same ones that wanted Baker Mayfield gone wanted him back last year. So that's why I don't. I tune him out, most of the time. Right. So it's all, but I don't see anything. I've been keeping an eye out. It's like, did he sign with Chicago? Because I saw stuff that he's there, or he's ready to sign a deal, but I haven't heard anything. And I know the Browns are making an effort to keep him. They want to keep him.
Yeah,
but they can't.
I'd love to see him. If there's a way we can keep him. I mean, we've had 4 backs before. Right now, what do we have now on the roster? Obviously, we have the 2 new running backs. And then there's just Ford and Pierre Strong, I think, still on the roster.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Jerome Ford.
I mean,
yes.
We've kept 4 running backs in the past. The injuries. I mean, we could keep 4, keep the 2 rookies, Ford and Chubb. But I think it'll come down to, I think the most interesting thing is what happens with the quarterbacks. Now you got the 2 rookies, you traded for Pickett, you signed Flacco. Is there any chance they keep 4 quarterbacks on this roster? Do they go 3? Who's it going to be? There's so much out there right now. I love hearing all the speculation of who's gone, who's this, what they're going to do. That's going to be the interesting part. Toronto took the lead. It's 5-3, bottom of the 8th.
Oh.
Or up 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I'm trying to look up some stuff here if anything happening with Chubb. Just not looking at the Twitter universe. Haven't seen WWE let people go, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think for me in this draft, the biggest surprise was the Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel.
Because the biggest surprise to me was Shedeur Sanders falling the way he did.
That's the biggest story. Wow. But as far as the Browns draft picks, and the fact that they took him in the 5th round, I mean, had the Browns, like I said, you didn't hear really anything about Gabriel. It fits what they do, the Browns. It somewhat makes sense for their style, yet, again, I'm not a fan of the small quarterbacks, the 5'11", 200-pound plus. Call it the Paul McDonald effect. I'm not a big lefty fan. Something about left-handed quarterbacks ever since a kid watching Paul McDonald. I just don't like.
E-I-E-I-O. Yep.
Right.
Gotcha.
And most people, you know, the one that hurt was watching Will Howard go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but he was all the way in the 6th round. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought he was a 3rd round pick. I thought somebody would take him in the 3rd.
I saw possible day 2. A lot of them in the beginning said day 3. The emotion. Did you see the video when he got the call and stuff?
Oh yeah, he was real emotional. Yeah.
Oh yeah, him and Sawyer. You know, of all teams, they're both going to the Steelers. That was a bit of a bummer to hear.
Yeah,
I like both of those guys. And then the other one that really surprised me, and I didn't see this till just a few days ago, was Quinn Ewers. I didn't realize he was picked so late, and he ended up going to Miami with like the 2. Was he a 7th round?
Magic beans. Thanks, Ethan. Who? Quinn Ewers? Is that what you said?
He was like. He got
drafted. Kyle McCord got drafted before Will Howard did. Seriously, I didn't pay attention. That's what he said. That's according to Ethan. I take Ethan's word for it.
Yeah, yep, he did. That's right. Which that's not a huge surprise to me. Kyle McCord. If you looked at his numbers, Kyle McCord played great at Syracuse. Similar size. Had a good year at Ohio State the year before. But the Quinn Ewers, I mean, he came out. He could have stayed, and because remember, he originally went to Ohio State, and everybody was thinking, oh, he's the next great quarterback, and then ended up transferring to Texas, and kind of helped bring Texas back because they've kind of went by the wayside for a few years. But for him to get, he left and to get drafted so late. And I think I'm pretty sure it was Miami in like 230 something pick or something.
Where did McCord go to? We went to the Eagles?
I think it was the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken.
And where did Quinn Ewers go to?
Miami. And Howard. I think if you'd ask most, I think the linebacker was a bit of a surprise. I don't think anybody was thinking linebacker early on. I mean, I thought the one that hurt was I thought maybe I had heard a lot about don't be surprised about an offensive tackle.
Yeah, and I guess it just didn't fall that way.
The one surprise for me was Simmons, the Ohio State kid, ended up going, and that was it. Either not Philly because they took the line. I think it was Kansas City. I thought he was going to be there, and I was really curious to see if that's who they would have taken with DT. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I was the other thing I was really intrigued by, and it was Brown Spider. Got me on it. He fell in love with the possibility of the Browns taking Jalen Milroe. In fact, if you see him on Twitter, he was going Travis Hunter and Jalen Milroe was his 2 picks.
Yeah, and Milroe.
He went 2 picks before to Gabriel to Seattle at 92. Mm-hmm. I would love to have known. I mean, the way they're talking, it sounds like Gabriel was their guy all along, but I would have just loved to have known. 94 comes. Milroe's on the board. Would he have been the pick, or were they still going Gabriel?
That would be an interesting thing, thing to find out. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not in their heads, but I don't know what their board looked like. I know the stories that came out about Shedeur, like as he fell and all these things, and I'm like, well, is this all true? Is it partially true? I mean,
there's so much out there.
Wow.
I think it was clear. Most people said the NFL circles, everything I've heard that I tend to believe, I think most people in the NFL circles felt he was not a 1st round or a 2nd round talent, that he wasn't just that. They didn't believe he was that good. Now, why he fell that far, nobody. You've heard all the stories. Oh, he had a bad interview with Giants and Dable, and this or that, or it's his entourage, or his dad, or
his dad not wanting to go to Cleveland, and but he even said like they joked, kind of saying, "Oh, we're praying for the Giants," and then the reporter thought he'd be a smart ass. Said, "Well, what about Cleveland?" Mm-hmm. They do that shit. Okay, yeah, because I mean, trust me, if I was there, it'd be a big mistake. I've done that. I've done that as a wrestler. People that try to rip on Cleveland in front of me. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Seriously? Do you realize I could hurt you?
Most of the ones that always ripped on Cleveland, they had never been here. Oh, the mistake by the lake, blah, blah, blah. It's like, have you been there? And they're like, no.
Oh, yeah. And when they say that, I said, what's the mistake here? Your employment?
Lou, don't hold back.
And oh no. And I said, well, he goes, well, I was just making a joke. And I said, if I wanted a joke, I'd follow you to the men's room and watch you take a leak. And then just like, then they're like shocked.
Right.
Like, yeah, I bite back, dude. Go ahead. I'm from this city. I have skin a lot thicker than you think. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I do that. Yeah, I would do that. It just
absolutely. No.
Yeah. Rip
looking
on.
at
Oh
this,
yeah. Jokes is like his
this.
hairstyle. They're from the 70s. What's that? Well, did you hear about the Peter Ducey thing?
Yeah.
The reel's going to come out about that because I said, yeah, you heard what I said Monday. I was like, yeah, just like Shedeur Sanders is just like him. He got his job because of his dad.
Well, he wasn't either one. You brought it up on the one show about that had the question about
But about the president, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Martin said that to a guy. Yep, classic planes, trains, and automobile. I'll tell you the truth. When I used to do like a wrestling, like when I'm in the ring and I was the heel and somebody would yell stuff, I'd yell back at them. I'd go back and forth with them. And I was quick on my feet with that stuff. People were like, wow. It's just, there's times I would do that. It's like, I'd have a purple singlet on. Are you wearing purple because you're gay? I'm like, what are you hoping for something later? Everybody like, ooh.
They're trying. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's easy. It's easy.
Yep.
It's easy just to go back, but they usually appreciate it. It's kind of like a Don Rickles type of thing. See, Corey would never do that.
No,
I would. I mean, oh yeah, dude, I'm totally.
How long was Corey a wrestler for?
He broke into like 10 years later than I did. I'd say he still works once in a while, but not as
Oh,
much.
does he? Okay.
I think he does. Yeah. Yeah, but it's anyway. It's. I'm trying to think. One of. Oh, okay. I could tell a quick story because I'm gonna tie into wrestling. I'm gonna tie some stuff into wrestling here. We got about 10 minutes. I told this story to Johnny Cleveland after the show. I'm gonna tell it, but first, let me tell you about a guy that charged the ring when I said something to him. Because I was in North Carolina, I had a match. I had a guy in a leg hold. I said, just work with me. Let me work. There's a little kid in the front row saying, "You suck." I was like, "You suck." He goes, "No, you suck." And I was like, "No, you suck." Then as I started working it, I got the crowd to respond to me going, "No, you suck." And they go, "No, you suck." I'm like, "No, you suck. You suck." And as I built it up, I found the biggest, nastiest looking hillbilly ringside. And I said, well, if I suck, it's because his mom taught me how. And the whole place was like, oh, he charged the ring and security tackled him. I swear to God,
the guy did?
He wanted to fight me. And I had the whole, and meanwhile, the guy was wrestling. So he's covering his face. He's trying not to laugh. And I'm just sitting, I said, we didn't have to do shit. We had the crowd going nuts. Wow. So it worked out really well. So that's one. The second one was I broke into wrestling in April of '93. And let me just set the stage. And my first year in the business was probably the hardest for me because back then they didn't have guaranteed money. You made money off the house. It was where you were in the card. When you're just starting out on the independent minor league circuits in your opening match, you're not making shit. You're scraping and scrounging. So I was struggling. I was learning. it was a lot of growing pains. I mean, you got to be cut out to do that stuff. And I was only 19 years old when I first started. My first match was 2 months later when I turned 20. And when I was at the wrestling school and I was learning and I was bumping, I'm doing all this stuff. And I didn't feel like I fit in because they didn't let me in right away because you got to earn it. Yeah, you're of course. And I knew that too. I was young, but I was naive. I was stupid, but I was young, but I understood that. So, after I was there for about a year, the WWF called Charlie to send guys for TV. And I was one of the guys he picked. He told me that. And then a couple of older veterans in the school pulled me aside and they put a finger in my face and they said, you're going to show up. You're going to do what you're told. You're going to keep your mouth shut. You're not going to tell any of your stupid jokes. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And they're like, when somebody hits you in that ring, you go down. And you stay down until they pick you up. You sell for them. You make them look good. And you don't do a goddamn thing to make Charlie look bad because you'll make us all look bad. You got that? I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's just the way it was back then. You had the veterans put the rookies in their place. This is your first time there. This is the largest wrestling promotion in the world. You only got one chance to make a good impression. Or first impression. That's what they said. I was like, okay, you got it. I understood. You heard it loud and clear. So, and they said, don't show up in t-shirts and jean shorts. You look decent, you know? So I actually had like a polo shirt and like khaki shorts. So I like a little bit nicer.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And there's all kinds of things like be professional. It's like, all right, I'm at here's my shit at the WWF. So I got there and nobody told me this, but when they ask you how long you've been working, give them a little bit longer of a time than you were. Cause I was told, man, I've been working a year. And they were like, huh, they go, put your gear on, get in the ring. We want to see what you can do. Okay. So I did. And it was Tony Gurria. So I put me in the ring. I did a couple spots, said, okay, you're working tonight. So he just wanted to make sure I could carry my own.
Right.
I ended up getting Sparky Plug, who was Bob Holly.
Okay.
And I told Chris Hamrick, this was the first time I met him. Chris Hamrick, I said, yeah, man, I got Sparky Plug. I got Bob Holly. He was like, oh, man. Oh, he's horrible to work with. I said, really? What's going on? He explained, he'll whip you off the ropes. He won't say anything to you. Watch that knee off the middle rope. He's going to hit you in the head. He's going to knock you out. Blah, blah, blah. He's really stiff. So he mentally prepared me. To go out there and be ready. So I was like, all right, I'll be ready. So I talked over some things with Bob. I went out there. Dave Hebner was the referee. And there was a spot where we had to go from corner to corner. And he was going to kick me in the face, do like a savate kick. So I come charging in and he, boom. And I mean, it was the hardest I've ever been hit in the chin in my life. Okay. And I went down. I'm like seeing birds and stars and shit. I'm like, what? And all of a sudden I started feeling blood trickling, and I'm like, shit. And they picked me up, and I came to. I was fine. Because you okay? I said, yeah, let's keep going. We were good. I had blood coming out of my mouth. I didn't get knocked out, but it fucking hurt like hell. And then he whips me off the ropes. He's trying to spit out the spot. And then I saw him set up for an elbow. I took the elbow and dropped. Then he tried to whip me off the ropes again. And I said, drop kick me. Boom. I drop kick. Bam. Then we went through the match. I started like talking to him out there, guiding him and telling him what to do. And I said, you ready to take it home? He's like, yeah. Usually guys get mad if somebody did that. Because like, who are you trying to tell me what to do? You know? Okay. But I said, hey, let's do this. Hey, I was kind of making it sound like a suggestion. And Hebner was in there. The match went off fine. But as soon as I got back, a bunch of guys came up to me and said, are you okay? Holy shit, look at your mouth. Because I had like my teeth were red.
Did you lose any teeth?
No, I didn't. No, I just cut my lip. Because I had my head turned, but boom, he just hit me really good. Because you always turn your head when you do. If you ever watch the guys do it, they know when to turn their head. And it's just like my teeth are red, and they couldn't go tight on it because it was blood for TV. It was syndicated television. So I got back, and I remember hearing this, that Hebner told the road agent, Gurria, the kid called the match. Gurria kind of nodded, went, okay. I'm not kidding. So I washed out my mouth and everything, and Bob Kim apologized. Said, hey, no problem. Thank you for everything. It was, oh my God, that was great. Thank you. Everybody came up to him. God, that was good. You made him look great out there. Holy cow, you only been working a year. Boy, you got that. And I said, good. Okay. So once I got in, I put a butterfly in my lip. Once I got into the van where we were all getting there, once I got in that van, I must have motherfucked that guy left and right. I was so pissed. I was mad. I had maybe about a handful of matches under my belt, only in the business for 14 months. All right. I'm sitting there. I'm in front of 10,000 people, the biggest crowd I ever wrestled in front of.
Right.
Not even old enough to drink yet, 20 years old. And I get thrown in this position. Is that fair?
No.
But what did I do? I took chicken shit and made it into chicken salad. I put together, I made it work. Could have been a dumpster fire. Turns out a few weeks, because all the guys at the school didn't say a word to me. Nobody said anything to me. Charlie came up to me, pulled me aside, told me, Lord rest his soul, Charlie's no longer with us. He died in 2016. He said, they called me about you. And I'm like, fuck. He goes, you did good. They liked you. He goes, you did good. They were surprised you were only working a year. They pretty much said, like, get some more experience, get the baby fat, get in better shape. You'll have a future.
That set the foundation for you, though. And
2 years later, I was working for him regularly for 4 years.
Nice.
Strongbow called my house in the summer of '96. I'll never forget seeing his name on the. His real name was Joe Scarpa. Seeing his name on the caller ID, and at that point, a lot changed for me. My parents started supporting it because they saw me on TV.
That'd have been pretty cool for your parents.
Yeah, they thought I was crazy. They thought I was wasting my time. Once they saw me on TV, they were like, "Okay, he's
Well,
serious."
you went to, was it Cleveland State?
Yeah.
Was that before? That was before you got into wrestling, or no? It was after.
Is that yeah? I got into wrestling first. Went
Okay.
to Cleveland State. Yeah, I went. I made sure I finished college.
Okay.
So I did that. Let me think. Then the guys at the school, I was kind of in at that point. They didn't tell me, "Hey, you're in. We're cool now." They just started treating me better.
Right.
It was just like okay, I didn't make them look bad. I made them look good. I made the school look good.
Right.
And then I just started getting more bookings. I started getting more money. It just things started turning around for me at that point. So it was like, here I was. It was like a crossroads. How do I handle this? What do I do? Put that into what happened to Shador.
Mm.
You know, was it fair for that kid to be on cameras like that? Was it fair that somebody prank called him? I mean, and thank God the internet wasn't around when I was young and stupid.
No question about it.
Because we've all done stupid shit when we're in our early 20s.
Absolutely.
But
now, did you see all the stories after? I saw who was it? I think Abdul Carter. They're claiming he got one of those prank calls. I don't think it was by the same kid.
I think Tyler Warren did too, this tight end from Penn State.
I know for a fact Abdul Carter, and I could have swore there was somebody else.
I heard Tyler Warren did. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's just insane to hear some of these. Getting back to the draft, like you said, the round 2, the Carson linebacker was a little bit of a surprise. It made sense. It's a need.
A bunch of players got pranked.
There's stories coming out of all these different guys saying that they got a call. That I think even was Will Howard.
Was Will Howard pranked? I don't know if Will Howard was pranked. You said Genty was.
Okay, I don't know if I saw that one. I could have swore I saw something with even.
Genty went to the Raiders, right?
Yeah, he was the 6th pick right after us.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're playing 50. "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
But the linebacker one was a little bit of a surprise.
Well, just so you know, Bob and I were cool after that. It took years. It took me years, decades to kind of think back and be like, okay, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. And and he even talked about like where he was at that point because he wasn't comfortable calling stuff in the ring. He was a nervous wreck because he was afraid. He was like one match.
Most guys not want to work with him.
Well, no, it was just he was one bad match away from getting fired.
Okay.
So Vince would look at him sideways like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? He was under a lot of pressure.
I think it's funny how you kind of reacted to all those guys and stuff, and then you get in the van, you're like, "Motherfucking listen."
I kept my mouth shut until I got in that van.
That was pretty good. Being that young.
Oh yeah. I knew my place. I said, no, don't, because I'll tell you the truth. I've seen guys in my experience in wrestling that if you're not worth the hassle and you're a pain in the ass to work with and you're just not worth it, you don't last.
Yeah.
Nobody books you.
Well, I gotta believe that's gotta be so competitive.
Oh, there's so many guys. If you say no, there's a line of guys outside that door that are willing to do it. Yeah. So like when I had to wrestle Pillman in '97, it was 2 months before he died, he was in no condition to be wrestling. And even Mick Foley asked me, he goes, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Am I in a position to say no, Mick?" Right. I mean, he's like, "No, you're not." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yeah." So I'm going to go out there. I'm going to work with him. So I did. And he was cool. Brian was cool with me. I mean, yeah. I felt bad because he shouldn't have been wrestling. He should have been done. He should have found something else to do, but he was trying to support his family, and that's what he was doing. Yeah, but go ahead, man. What were you saying?
No, like I said, just looking at the draft as a whole, I think the one surprise was the linebacker pick. For me, the biggest surprise. We'll see how it turns out. There's a reason why I'm sitting at my house and on this show with you and not in the Browns front office. I think the Gabriel pick was the biggest stunner.
I was surprised too. I was surprised. I will admit, I wasn't expecting them to take him. I heard nothing about that.
I'm a big Daniel Jeremiah fan, of the so-called experts and stuff. I really like what he has. He had Sanders as the 20th ranked quarterback or 20th ranked player. He had Gabriel the 148th. This was an interesting thing. I tried to get a couple things for you. So if you like the mock draft guys, the experts, Daniel Jeremiah, if you look at the Browns picks, we had, was it 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players we drafted. Graham was his 4th rated player. Sanders was his 20th rated player, and we got him in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Judkins was his 38th.
We got him 36.
Schlesinger was 40th.
Okay,
Harold
we got him
Fannin
33.
was the 56th ranked player on his board of all the players in this draft. Dylan Sampson was his 68th ranked player, and Gabriel was the last one at 148. But I mean, you look at those first 5, 2, 3, 4, 6 picks, they're in the top 68. You got, according to this expert, Daniel Jeremiah, you got 6 of the top 68 players in this draft. That blew me away when I saw that. I mean,
if
again,
that pans out, wow.
Home run. And I think even if you would have took Sanders in that 3rd round, this city, I mean, they already lost their mind. I remember when I was sitting there, I think my buddy, my best friend, I hadn't heard from him. He called me. I was watching the draft. It's 5th round. I remember going, oh, the Browns don't pick till later. We were still on vacation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I'm like, we're on the clock. I'm like, we weren't supposed to pick to I forget what it was, 160 something.
And they moved up for Sanders?
I'm like, we moved up. I'm like, well, let me see what this is. My mouth went to the floor. When I saw Shedeur Sanders, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what just, I lost it. My wife's like, what? I'm like, I can't believe what I just saw. I mean, that was the shocker of the draft.
I sent Johnny Cleveland Saturday Johnny Cleveland was having a meltdown over Dylan Gabriel.
I could see it.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. It was great. I love it. I love him. He's so easy to work with. I just said here. I said it was a Check the Mike podcast, and these guys were really high on Gabriel. They liked him. They had him. They had him as a top 5 quarterback in the draft.
Okay.
But that was them, and they said the Browns did this. This was a great, smart pick. And what I heard was, if we didn't make that trade with Jacksonville and swap out our 4th round picks, we had the earlier 4th round, we wouldn't have taken him with that 3rd round pick.
Really?
We'd have waited till the 4th round, but they knew he wouldn't be there later in the 4th, so that's why they wanted to get him, and they knew around where they could get him. So that happened, and they said I would expect them to take another quarterback later in the draft. They're going to load up their quarterback room. That was the strategy. And he said, look like maybe like a Kyle McCord or Quinn Ewers. It's like, okay. Then it would turn out to be Shedeur Sanders, which is he's way better than Kyle McCord or Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
Personally, I just looking at the tape, but
I thought the Browns would go one way or the other. It turns out they merged both, because I thought we would either have 2 veterans with a rookie drafted, or they would go 2 rookies and bring in 1 veteran. And here we have 2 veterans with 2 rookies. So I heard something I thought was interesting. I mean, right now, I think you've got to know, you got 2 first-round picks next year.
Yeah.
If you don't have this quarterback, you need a quarterback this year or next year.
Yes.
Who do you start at quarterback? If you're the Browns, I mean, they're going to do preseason, but what would you do with the quarterback?
If I just looking at the depth chart now, this is what I do. I'm just basing it on experience and draft order.
Mm-hmm.
1's Joe Flacco, 2's Pickett, 3's Gabriel, 4 Sanders. That's just it. Right now, they didn't even practice. I don't even think they had. Are they having rookie mini camps this weekend?
That's it. I thought it was in May. I saw.
Well, it is May.
Right.
It is May. It's May 2nd.
It's in a few weeks. It's coming up. It's
coming up.
Rookie.
Yeah. They didn't even do OTAs or mini camps or anything yet. So there's no practices. So really, just wait till you start seeing them on the field and pads and start to throw and make their reads, and we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, wow. Hardcore Holly carrying around that scale. Now, that was Crash Holly. That was Mike Lockwood. I knew Mike when I was in ECW. Mike Lockwood was a great guy. I felt bad that he died. I've heard.
I'm assuming with the Sanders pick?
Yeah, is that what the Sanders pick with the belt in the village? All right, I'm sorry I'm behind on this. Sanders could be a huge steal in this draft. He could be.
Yeah.
He could be. But, I mean, look, low risk. Very low risk. Yeah, I was like, take him. I mean, anybody that took him, if other than the Browns, the national media would have been fawning over it.
Here's what blows my mind, and this is what I heard a lot. Most people
weekend. Okay.
Most people I've seen talk
May
about
9th through
Gabriel.
11th. Thanks, Ethan.
Okay. Most people I heard talk about Gabriel, solid backup, like as a ceiling. Where Sanders, I mean, people are thinking, starting quarterback potentially, or it could be he's boomer bust. I don't know if there's much of a middle with him. It could be, franchise
I don't know.
quarterback, or it could be a bust. I personally, I thought I heard, and the other thing is the Browns seeked out to get Pickett in that trade.
Yeah, they wanted Pickett.
Yeah, they wanted him. They see something. They gave up draft capital because you heard right away. Oh, they're going to get rid of Pickett and keep the two in Flacco. It's like, well, not necessarily. They had to have an idea of what they were doing in the draft at quarterback wise, because everything I heard. Did you hear this too, Lou? That trade with Jacksonville that wasn't worked up. They had that that was basically done a couple weeks ago. It was what I heard was that Cam Ward, as long as Cam Ward went one, that deal was done. And that was made about a week or two
ago. I knew it was in the works for a couple of days at least.
No, the one story I saw about I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 weeks that basically all the details were worked out, but it was all they wanted to make sure Ward went one, and that deal was done.
And did you hear like the Jacksonville GM in his press conference? And he's giving all these buzzwords and
I didn't understand.
And I'm like, dude, what the hell are you saying? I mean, okay, let's just say this. Okay, Jacksonville is picking in the top 5. All right. They gave up draft capital. They still have holes to fill, just like the Browns do.
Yeah.
Okay. They have holes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And they how else can I put it? They gave up draft capital. And I think the thing to do is to root for Jacksonville to lose.
Oh, for sure. The one benefit they have is I think their conference or their division's relatively weak.
Compared to ours, yeah.
So, I think, that we'll see how that plays out, but by no means are they a great team. So, yeah, I hope they do.
I hope they're picking the top 5. Yeah, again.
I got it, and I wanted to have exact numbers for you. So, I thought I found a few things interesting here.
Sure.
For this draft, for the first round, do you know how many offensive players were taken and how many defensive players were taken?
I couldn't even tell you. I didn't even keep track.
So this is putting Hunter as a receiver. There was 18 offensive players drafted in the first round. That's counting Hunter as a wide receiver.
14
defensive. Do you know how many Ohio State Buckeyes went in the first round?
I know at least 2.
There was 4. You had
Simmons and Igbuka,
Jackson, and the defensive tackle Williams.
Okay.
It was Igbuka, Jackson, Williams, and Simmons. How it rounded out. And then you know how many total Buckeyes were taken in this draft?
I couldn't tell you. I know Will Howard, you got at least 10.
14.
14, okay.
14 Buckeyes drafted, which ties the school record that they set in 2004. And it's the 5th time since 1994 that at least 10 or more Buckeyes were drafted in a draft. Georgia was second this year with 13 players drafted. And then I tried to look this up because I was kind of my curiosity. I was pretty sure about the one. I wanted to have exact numbers, but I looked it up and I found 2 conflicting. So can you name the 5 out of the top 10 schools all time for most players drafted? This is prior to this draft because the numbers I saw, I got 2 different numbers. So
I know Ohio State's got to be there. Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I would think Miami of Florida.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Dare I say that team up north?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see if this surprises you. The number 1 with the most players. Again, this is prior. I think it's still
Was
true.
it Notre Dame?
Notre Dame is number 1 going into the.
I was just guessing.
They were 1. USC was 2. Ohio State's 3rd. Oklahoma 4th.
Oh, okay.
Michigan's 5th. Alabama 6th. Penn State 7th. LSU 8th. Georgia 9th. And Florida was 10th.
The Gators.
Again, this was 2024 because I looked at some and the numbers were all different, but I think that order, I knew USC, I always knew, in Notre Dame, just for their history. No real surprises. But here's the one. Do you know most first-round draft picks? What school can you guess? Any guesses on the schools that have the most players taken in the first round?
I'd probably say maybe Alabama.
Okay. Any other couple more guesses?
Well, so I'm looking at the ones that are at the most picks. So you probably look at Ohio State, maybe Notre Dame, maybe
Mhm.
Michigan. So
There you go. Number one with the most first round picks. And it only strengthened it this year because I think we had the most with 4 this year. But again, going into this draft, Ohio State was number one. I thought I saw the number 91. I could be wrong, but Ohio State has the most first round picks by a school. USC is second, Bama third, Notre
wow,
Dame fourth, Miami of Florida. There's your Miami. They were fifth, Florida sixth, LSU seventh, Michigan eighth, Oklahoma, and then Georgia. So Ohio State's had the most first round picks, players taken in the first round of any school, and they're third overall with most players being drafted.
hmm,
So I
that's
tried to look.
interesting.
Yeah, I tried to look. I don't know any. I wanted to ask you about the undrafted free agent signings. I'll be honest, I don't know any of them.
I've been following it.
I
There's been
looked
some
at
guys. There's been some guys, and that I know. Shiloh Sanders went to Tampa Bay as an
Tampa
undrafted,
Bay. The
which
Browns
is
got this one kid, the safety from Pitt, McMillan.
yeah, I
They
heard
I
good
saw
things
a
about him.
video with him, and the phone conversation. They were eager to bring him in. They had a hat for him and stuff. Kid broke down. I thought one of the coolest stories was. Did you hear the story about Mason Graham during the draft? He got Graham
You
got
got a
drafted.
text. You got a text from Miles
Well,
Garrett.
that too. That he did get a text early on from Miles Garrett, but no, he got drafted, and he was doing a whole media thing for a while. He was talking to somebody, and they said his one buddy, and I think it was it the cornerback? One of the other guys from Michigan was still in that green room.
And he went and sat with him.
He went back. He stopped what he's doing and went and sat the rest of the time with him until he got drafted. I thought that was a cool story.
That was that what was that kid's name? Anderson or
Was it?
yeah, he was a good corner. He was one of, but the thing was he had a knee injury and he slid. He slid
Okay.
in the draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He ended up going back and sat. So I thought it was a kind of a cool story.
what do you got here, Ethan? Hinkle, Minkle, Micken, heard Hinkle, Mickle, Mickleberry. All right, you make me fucking pronounce shit. Is that big? There's one guy that I guess some guys real big, like they talk. But I remember when the Browns drafted DeJuan Jones from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Lord rest his soul, my father-in-law.
Mm.
I was helping him, and I was listening to my earbuds on the Odyssey app to the draft. It was day 3, and they were saying, right tackle DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. Oh, okay, we drafted a tackle. Good. Then I heard them read his measurements.
Mm-hmm.
6'10", 350 pounds. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
6'10".
He's 6'10".
Is he really?
Yeah. You ever see him?
He's huge.
He's a monster.
Of a man.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 6'10". Okay.
Yeah,
I
he's
thought
one of the
like
largest human
6'8"
beings.
or something like that. 6'9".
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, Andre the Giant was 7'4", and I saw him wrestle. I was ringside for some of his matches, but God, you just when you're that close to him, you're like, oh my God, to see Andre the Giant. But DeJuan Jones is just a massive human being.
It's so funny.
He was in the 4th round, and he actually played like a first rounder his rookie year when he didn't get hurt.
Yeah,
and he got hurt last year too. If he could stay healthy, he's a great tackle.
Huge.
Yeah, but go ahead. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, my wife and I were out on vacation. We went out to dinner at this one restaurant, this Italian place, and this guy comes walking in, and my back was to everything. My wife's like, I don't know if the lady's just this short or if this guy's that tall. He walked by. I'm like, this guy's tall. The guy was like 7 foot. The guy was a giant. And this lady was probably average 5'6", 5'7", average woman height.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. I asked my wife, I'm like, why don't you, when he gets up, just be, excuse me, sir, how tall are you? She's like, I can't do that. He probably gets asked all the time, but he was huge. I'm 6 foot. I feel like I'm a decent sized guy.
Yeah.
Going to Cavs games.
Yeah, you met me. I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
I'm
we're about the same height.
I weigh about 250 pounds. I'm a bigger guy, but
I'm bigger in different ways, unfortunately. But no, I've been Cavs games. I've met tons of, professional athletes, and I've gotten by some of the I met Larry Nance in person. He was 6'10". You're just like, geez. I mean, I've got buddies that are 6'2", 6'3", 164. But when you see these guys that are over 6'6", just how big they are, you're like, wow. I can't, it's crazy how much bigger they could be.
Oh yeah.
DeJuan Jones, I've seen him in many things. Well, I just saw this yesterday. Did you see the picture? I don't know where it was at. They had David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and the rookie, the kid, their newest guy, Wembe. What's his name? Wembe, the San Antonio center.
Okay.
They showed them in a picture. I mean, David Robinson was 7 foot. Tim Duncan was, I think, 6'10" or 6'11".
Yeah.
And Wembe towers over. I mean, they look.
He's like 7'5".
Yeah, you until you see a picture of those guys and just how much bigger. Now the kid's a toothpick. He's so skinny, but it was amazing.
He's a top draft pick. He's a number 1 draft pick,
Number
wasn't
one
he?
pick. Yep,
A couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just to see that size, it's crazy. So anyway, as
there
far
was
as
a guy was Manute Bol, and I remember him and George Mirasan. Yeah,
I met him. I at one point over on the west side of Cleveland, right off the freeway 71. I worked
Mirasan or Manute Bol.
Yep, I worked at a hotel called the Marriott, right off West 150th, and the bat is right there off of
It's by the airport. Yeah.
Yep, and it was a very popular place back in the day for teams to stay at because it was right out of downtown, close to the airport. And I worked in the restaurant, and the Sixers were in town. And one of my favorite players, non-Cavalier, was Chuck Barkley. I loved Barkley as a player. And they were staying at that hotel that night. I got done. I was a busboy at the restaurant, and I got done, and I went down, and I'm like, I just want to see if I can meet Charles. They're in the bar. Of course, there's women all around them. I'll never forget. Yeah. Right. I'll never forget. There was this blonde lady, and here's this, dorky white kid. I'm trying to be like, I just want to try and say hi. He's like my favorite player. And she was basically wanting me to get the hell out of there. But Chuck was pretty cool. He's like, no, come by, shook my hand and stuff. But on the team at the time was Manute Bol. Okay. I've never seen a person that big. I mean, the guy towered. He's one of those, when you come through the doorway, he's got a duck to go through.
He's 7'7", I think.
That's the tallest guy I've ever seen in person myself. And what's he, 7'5", 7'6", you said?
So I think 7'7". I could be wrong. George Mirasan was the same way. That guy, he played for Washington back in the 90s. George Mirasan. Yeah, they did the movie My Giant. It was him.
Okay.
But Billy Crystal wrote the movie about Andre because he had time with Andre when he did The Princess Bride.
Okay.
Yeah. But
wow.
Yeah. I was getting back to it. I think like DeJuan Jones fell in the 4th round, and that turned out to be a pretty good pick by Andrew Barry. Because I'm like, yeah, why wasn't he taken sooner? And I guess people just didn't want to deal with him, or they just thought he wasn't serious about football. But he's been a good guy here. I mean, he just got hurt. I mean, he's a big dude that gets hurt. So, hold on. So I'm seeing something here. It looks like the Indians lost 5-3.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Oh, I got the replay on it. First inning, 0-0.
Yeah, you got the replay on.
Yeah, I just looked like, oh, that's right. It was 5-3 in the going into the 9th. So
yeah,
that's not too bad. But now, as far as the draft, was there anything that surprised you, like that they didn't do the Browns, or not really?
Well, I heard people complaining that they didn't take any offensive linemen, but I said, well, they restructured Jack Conklin, and this is his last year with us. They signed 2 free agents, and one free agent I think was a guard, but he could play left tackle, and I think he's going to take the opportunity to play left tackle. Jed Wills is gone. I mean, he's just so that's it with him. And then I think they know they got Bitonio back. They got Wyatt Teller, Ethan Posick. So Posick, Bitonio, Conklin will probably not be here. So they're going to hope that the free agent they signed can get long term. The guy, he was from the Bears, and he had opportunities to go other places.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Isn't he like a guard center?
Yeah, but he played left tackle, and he's like a 2nd round pick. He's actually pretty good. So I'm thinking they figured the line wasn't the top priority. Quarterback, they addressed. They're trying now. And when I hear people calling up and saying, "Well, there wasn't a strategy," the strategy was to load up the quarterback room.
Yeah.
And they did. So is it all top-notch talent? I mean, you're not going to find Tom Brady in his prime on, in the free agent market or trade market. If somebody had Tom Brady in their prime, you wouldn't be able to trade to get him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen. I just find it interesting that our rivals down the turnpike didn't draft a quarterback till the 6th round.
Well, everything I keep hearing is that they're expecting
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Something's worked out, but hey, I hope it is. I don't, I worry with the Browns.
I didn't want him. I didn't want Aaron
No,
Rodgers.
no, not at all. I hope he goes to Pittsburgh. I mean, what he did with the Jets. I thought it was interesting. We did sign, I thought maybe we target a receiver in this draft. But again, you can't fill every need. I'm happy with the players they took for the most part. They did sign a little bit of a surprise again. Deontay Johnson, former Steeler receiver, Raven receiver, and I think was he in Panthers too?
Lose it, Texans.
I think I know he had some issues, but if it works out again, low risk, high reward. If it, he's only I think 28, if I remember correctly. So we did add him. Flacco, it scares me. Was I excited when they signed him? Sure, but I don't know. Flacco, he's 40 years old now.
He's probably not going to start every game.
No, the 2-year magic he had back then. I mean, if you saw him last year, he really didn't look all that great in Indy.
No,
I don't know. Me personally, I think I'd rather know really more with Shedeur. If you want to throw Pickett in there, he's 26. If you think he's got skills and maybe I want to see what they got with these young guys because I want to know if next year, do we have a quarterback or do we still need to get one? I got 2 first-round picks. It would be phenomenal if Shedeur or if you want to say Gabriel or Pickett, one of these guys turns out to be, hey, we think we got our franchise quarterback because now you have 2 first-round picks to add to that would be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Think of that.
Especially with Jacksonville. I personally, I'm rooting for Jacksonville. They still have holes, and they really didn't do well. I mean, if you look at what turned out in this trade, I think we won the trade.
Oh, I think everything I saw and read, most everybody liked what Cleveland got. I know Gruden thought, it was the Cleveland, totally won that trade. Even our old friend and Joe Banner, I saw him tweet that Cleveland absolutely stole that, robbed Jacksonville of, in that trade. So,
but I just think with the Shedeur pick that everybody's shitting on it because the attitude. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you should talk about that because you mentioned that to me before we got on our show, but I don't think you talked in this show.
No, I said I think if any other team would have made that pick in the 5th round, whether it's Dallas, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, whoever. Wow, what a value pick! What a great pick! Oh, wow, that's a great thing. Well, how smart are they? That's great. New England, whoever it would have been, it's the Browns. National media's got to just take a shit on it.
Yeah,
and that's what we deal with. That's just what we deal with, and they're assholes. And what they don't understand too is how were the Browns like they were for 20 years? What happened? And I've written about that. I've done articles about it. I've explained it to people. What we got in 1996 was the death penalty, essentially. And we turned into SMU is what it was because we got shut down for 3 years. We were given an expansion team. They had to put that team together in 10 months. They had to build the stadium in 2 years. It was just everything about it was rushed.
That expansion draft was a joke. The players they were allowed to kind of pick from, was it,
Yeah, it was right after the success of Jacksonville and Carolina, so we thought we had a chance. We didn't have a snowball's chance in hell. Yeah. I'm even more amazed how we won 2 games in 99. But the best thing was beating Pittsburgh in 99.
Yeah.
That I could not. I mean, I remember just as the game was going on, and then I remember Phil Dawson just like he's like, oh, I got to go out there and kick. Like nobody even told him the clock was clicking down. They snapped it with 1 second left. He kicked it. It went through. Yep. And I'm like, we just beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. We just beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. And that was it. I mean, it was like I waited 3 years for this. I waited 3 years.
That made that whole season worth it. Everything was that one game.
Yeah, well, that one I remember the New Orleans game too.
That was the Hail Mary.
The Hail Mary on Halloween.
Who caught it? Was it Johnson or
Kevin Johnson else? Caught it from Tim Couch. Yeah.
Actually, was Gerard Cherry, who's with KNR, was he on that? Wasn't he on that Saints team? If I remember correctly,
he was.
I thought I heard him talk about it before. But I remember that one. Him launching up that Hail Mary in that right corner of the end zone there, and Johnson catching and doing the toe tap.
It was a touchdown.
Yeah, that was it.
It was a touchdown. It was there.
Yep.
I remember,
Right.
yeah, it was just, I remember that. I was just like, wow. And people, they shit on Tim Couch, but Tim Couch didn't have a line. He had nothing around him. He got the
I
shit
will
kicked
go
out
to
of him.
my grave if Tim Couch was on any of these teams from the 2020 on. This team's a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Couch was a good court. It didn't have nothing around them, like you said. The offensive line was terrible. I mean, he had guys like Terry Kirby as his running back. I mean, he had nothing for a while. And if he had anywhere near the talent that we had now, this team would have been so much better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I just let it be known that it was just, there was a lot that went into what happened. And most of it, I'm just as Art Modell's culpable for what happened, so is the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
They're equally to blame because it should have never have gotten to that point.
No. If I remember correctly, I think part of the thing was, see, the problem with Modell, like unlike all these owners today, he didn't have a big business that he made all these billions with. His business was the Browns. That was his, that was all his income, wasn't it?
Who, Art Modell? Yeah.
He had no pilot J to fall back on or any of that. It was
he had no other. No, it was the Browns, and he didn't have the cash that Jimmy Haslam has. And people are trying to compare this team going to Brook Park to play to the Art Modell. It's not even close.
No.
It's not even close.
Modell, he lost because when the Indians played there, he got
the concession revenue.
Yeah, he lost all that. He wanted, because they tried to put him a part of that package, but he wasn't going to get the revenue that he'd been getting, and I thought that was part of the reason he held out.
He wanted there was talks about, but the thing is that came out after he died, so I don't know how accurate that is. And I thought that was a little bit classless of the city officials to say something after Modell died.
Yeah.
Plus,
I mean, in the end, he still had a sub. I mean, even after that, what he did to this city, moved that team to Baltimore, and he still ended up having to sell that team.
Yeah, he still had to sell the team.
Yeah,
he didn't. He still had to sell the team. That's what people don't talk about. Mm-hmm. Steve Biscotti owns that team now.
Yeah, no,
it's totally different. So that's why it's kind of like that sting's kind of worn out because the Modell family doesn't even own the team anymore. Lerner's gone, and Lerner was the guy Art Modell bought out in order to move the team. Lerner could have put the kibosh on that by just staying here. And then Lerner's the guy that gets the expansion Browns.
I thought that was a little weird. But
yeah.
Joined him and
yeah, it was, there's a lot of backdoor deals happening and in between and all this other stuff. So this shit was happening. All this stuff was in the works. And the NFL knew they had a PR nightmare. And like when they talk about Browns, look, it's official. 8 world championships, 18 Hall of Famers, and the only fan base to fight to keep a team and win.
Yep.
Nobody else can say that. Nobody. Only 2 other franchises have more championships than us, and they're a lot older than us. That is the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. So, with that being said, guys, if you want to hang your head, you want to kick rocks, and you want to shit on yourself and be negative, go ahead. I'm not going to participate in it.
Not Mr. Positivity.
That's me.
Nah, that's all good.
Well, I mean, but when I write, look, I'm realistic too. When you see when I write and I report on the team, if it's not good, it's not good, and I've done it. I've been honest. I'll be honest when I report. The thing too is a lot of these reporters, and I like the reporters. What is this? Who is this guy? Funny thing, Art signed the paperwork on Al's plane, and he was considered a hero. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. That's true. It's 100% true. That was 95, guys. That was 30 years ago. Unbelievable.
I remember them being on that. It wasn't it at an airport and out at the airport and that whoever the mayor or whatever Baldwin was saying, holding up, going, "I've got the contract right here," or whatever. When he
they announced it that Monday. Monday. The next day was the Tuesday. We were voting in Cuyahoga County for an expansion of the Syntax to remodel the old stadium. If we didn't pass that and we weren't able to build the new stadium, we wouldn't have the Browns now. We passed it by 80-20 margin.
I forget the guy, if he's on ESPN or somewhere. I saw it one time a month or so ago talking, doesn't know shit. He was like, the Browns, that city, they lost that team. It's like, we didn't lose that team. I mean,
No.
he had no idea what he was talking about. And
No,
people
they don't.
hammered the guy. He's like, no, the owner, it wasn't. Oh, it was, we didn't support them.
Bullshit.
That stadium sold out.
Yeah.
We always sold out. The fan base
We
was
always
there.
had crowds. The fan base was there. We were loyal.
This
very
guy was
loyal.
going on about how we didn't support a team back then. I'm like, this guy, one, you don't even look old enough that you were even around to talk about,
Yeah.
but you have no clue. And people blasted him like, you know nothing. We sold out every game. We've talked about this back then. Before they left, I mean, every time a Browns game, I expected us to win almost every game.
Yeah, we were good. We had good teams.
Favorites to be in the playoffs. The sad thing is my three best highlights are those 3 NFL or AFC championship games. I think for me the most heartbreaking was the drive, losing that one to Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, because remember we scored. Brennan catches that ball, goes down the sidelines. We score. They do the in-swing kickoff. They muff it and they get it at the 2. I remember being at my house watching with my dad and family. I'm like, we're going to the Super Bowl. It's a couple minutes left in the game. They're at their own 2 at our field. I'm like, and then play after play. You're like, okay, 3rd down in this, 4th down and play after play, completion, this, just methodically going down the field. You're like, oh God. But anyway, I'm sticking with the positivity. All in all, so final thing, what was your draft? You probably don't do grades, but what was your overall impression, or what do you think?
I would, if I was going to give it a grade, I would say it's an A draft on paper. Okay. We'll see what happens on the field, but I liked it. I was cool with it. And once you look at the Dillon Gabriel pick, and you're like, well, you're not looking at picking a franchise guy in the 90th something. Right. I think they still in the back of their minds are going to say, okay, we'll see what we got, but we have the ammunition to get a quarterback next year's draft. If we can, if they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. Also, Bill Musgrave, the Browns quarterback coach, was teammates with Deion Sanders in San Francisco, and they're good friends. Plus, Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, was a former Browns coach for the former Cleveland Browns coach. It was the offensive coordinator in Colorado. He has a great relationship with Stefanski, so there's a lot of inside stuff that probably, I'm sure they made phone calls.
Oh yeah. Oh, everybody assumed right away when Deion made that comment about there's teams he don't want his kid going to, and this and that, and everybody right away, oh, it's Cleveland. But yeah, Musgrave and him, from I heard the exact same thing. They played together at San Francisco. They're actually good friends, and it's somebody that he trusts.
Yeah,
Deion, and that's so.
They could carry 4 quarterbacks.
I mean, look at all the injuries we've had. I mean, the year we went to the playoffs a couple years ago, what did we go through? 6?
We went through 4. I know we went through Watson, DTR, PJ Walker, and Flacco.
Yep. We also had the kid Stricker. What was the kid that would beat Bengals? He played in the last game of the year.
Yeah.
Remember, I want to say like Stricker or something weird,
Simmons or something like that. Yeah.
Him. I thought there's one other guy we're missing, but anyway, 5 or 6 quarterbacks. I don't know. I'm Shador. I did not want him with the 2nd pick. I didn't want him with the 2nd round pick. When it started getting in a 3rd round and later, yeah, I think for me, I'm scarred from the Manziel. You see
Manziel was one of the 2. Justin Gilbert was a bigger bust than Manziel. At least Manziel played a little bit.
Yeah,
won a couple games too.
I think with so much media and stuff, quote unquote, the circus. I think most fans are like, God, I don't want to go through that again. Fair or not with Sanders. You can't deny the kid has talent. So, for where we took him, it's a no lose situation. See what you got. If it doesn't work out, fine. And it's a 5th round pick. Who cares? But you got to find out what you got, and we have to know by the end of the year if we have a quarterback or not, or what we're doing heading into next draft. So we'll see. Right. We'll let it play out.
Let it play out. I mean, really, guys, they're actually, I like the strategy. I like what they did.
I think one thing's for sure. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to play another snap for the Browns. I don't think we'll see him under center.
Probably not. I think he'll be a June 1st, 2026 cut.
Yeah.
And he just put him on the pup this year. and roll out with what you got. You got low cost people. You got 2 veterans that are on the cheap. One guy's still under a rookie contract. You got 3 guys under rookie contracts, and you got a veteran that's on the cheap. So
yeah,
roll out with what you got. It makes sense what they're doing. And like I said, guys, there's if you let people point a finger at you and tell you this, and this, and you start believing them, you already lost.
Right.
So that attitude doesn't fly with me.
How big was it for them? I was shocked. I'm glad they finally, but how big was it when the owner finally came out and said, "Hey, we took a swing and we missed"?
Yeah.
I mean, he's come out and said it didn't work out.
And he said it was on him. He took accountability for it. He said it was his choice.
I'll give him credit for it.
Yeah.
They went for something big. He's not afraid to spend the money or, do stuff.
Yeah. And did you notice like the media freak out over that? With Haslam saying that, and how everybody just was like, they had to
I think they were finally shocked. Because wasn't Barry just saying something like, there's talk like, hey, well, he's going to rehab and be back next year. It's like, shut up.
He was doing this positive spin stuff.
Yeah.
But the owner said it because the owner knew it, and he's the guy that can say it, and because he's writing the checks. But the thing was, this is the reason why Barry and Stefanski don't say shit, because when you give them something, the media acts like, I was joking about the combine. I was like, but they're like cats chasing a laser pointer when they run the story after story. I'm like, yeah, God, I don't do that for a living. Christ, I'd be so annoyed.
We'll see. I have my season ticket this year. I know you got yours. So
I got mine. And actually, there was talks about the Fanatical Elves possibly being at the combine next year in
that'd be fun
February 26th, which would be nice. Hey, if we have a top, if because of Jacksonville, we have a top pick in that draft, and we're looking at quarterbacks, I want to meet Drew Aller. The kid from Medina, I heard a lot of good things, but you see, the thing is, you don't know. You have no idea what it's going to be like 10 months from now.
Some people thought he could have come out this past year, and we're already speculating. I think for him, it was better that he stayed a year. The thing I just heard recently, because everybody's talking about Manning, it's next year for Manning. Now it's come up. He may stay in college for 2 years. I'm so fascinated to see how this plays out. Now that you have that NIL and these kids can make money, they're not in a hurry, I don't think, to come to the NFL. They can make a few million there playing college. Are they going to be more selective? If there's a couple really shitty organizations that you don't want no part of or something, would they call their bluff like, I'm staying? I'll wait another year. I don't know. I heard that recently about Archie Manning now potentially staying in college for 2 more years. So we'll see. I'll worry about that next year. I'll see. At least we got, before this draft, we had Deshaun Watson and DTR. Now you look at it, and you still have Deshaun Watson, but he's not coming back. DTR is gone. I don't have a problem with that trade. I wasn't, DTR, good kid. He did nothing for me as a quarterback here. I'd rather see what Kenny Pickett could do. He's a former first-round pick. I'm not expecting much, but DTR I was done with. And you brought Flacco back, a fan favorite. He brought magic to this city. Mm-hmm. And you got 2 young kids, so I'm excited to see what this brings. I like the backfield. Like Ethan brought up, you got 3 good weapons you added to this team during this draft with the position players. The offense will be better.
I think you're going to see a lot more 2 tight end sets, so you don't have to worry about receivers much.
Absolutely.
I think they're going back to more of the Stefanski-like offense. I think.
When I saw something, look at their players. They all had, a lot of them had a common theme. Sampson, wasn't he the SEC Player of the Year?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Gabriel was the Big Ten, I think, Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
They brought in, like I said, I read you that thing of at least one of the 2 big networks. You got 6 of the top 68 players in this draft, according to this guy. The only one falling out of Gabriel.
Was that Daniel Jeremiah?
Yeah. In his top 50 ranking of these players for this draft, you got 6 of them, I think, or 5 of them. And by the way, you have 2 first-round picks for next year. So
use them wisely. Use your assets wisely.
One other thing. Oh,
Go ahead. Go. No, no. I'm just going to say. I think people they get on Stefanski and Barry a lot, and criticism's warranted when it's warranted. I'm fine with it. But I remember just going to the Steelers game last year. It was a snowstorm, and I'm on the Rapid, and I saw the news on the Rapid that Ian Rappaport was reporting, "Hey, Stefanski and Barry are going to be back for 2025." Most people were like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." They were okay with that. And one guy just sat there, "Yeah, I just want some sort of form of stability." And I'm like, "Well, if they come back for their 6th year in a row, is that considered stable?" I'm just like, "What do you're making it like it's their 2nd year, dude? I mean, what are you talking about?"
Yeah.
So that kind of stupid shit bothers me. It's like, do you know what you're saying? Do you understand? I mean, they started in 2020. It's 2025. This is their 6th season together. And they got 2 playoff appearances and a playoff win, which is good. It's better than anybody else before since '99.
Right.
And I remember all the articles about Belichick when he was here.
Oh,
He's a Hall of Fame coach. Hall of Fame coach. I remember the articles about Schottenheimer. They wanted him gone, and then 2 years later, they wanted him back because Bud Carson sucked so bad in his 2nd year.
Did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that team was horrible.
Rode the coattails for that 1 year, got us that 1 championship game, and after that, it was downhill. After
the last division title we had too. I want to see this team win the division. I want to see playoff games at that stadium. Let's see it happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. I'm not saying anything. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying.
I'm curious to see what I think overall. Stefanski is a good coach. There's plus and minuses. There are times his play calling would drive.
He's human.
Yeah. I think Watson. I don't know if he was forced on him or what. I think with this draft, the quarterbacks they brought in, these are his quarterbacks. Let's see. I mean, the guy's a good offensive coach. Let's see what he does.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I'm going to be Mr. Positive with you. We've got talent. This isn't, I mean, that's why I held on to my ticket so long. Every year I'd be like, well, and by the end of the season, I'm like, me and my buddy, I'm like, I'm getting rid of my ticket. I'm done. I'm like, well, hold on. We got 2 first-round picks next year. We could turn around like that. And then the following year, I'm like, son of a bitch, we suck again. No. And
Harvey and I, we agreed to do at least 1 season in the Dome.
Yeah. That's what I'm holding out for.
We're hanging on to 1 season in the Dome and thinking if they get when they're ready, they're priming to be ready to go when the new stadium and contend like that, which is possible. I don't know if that's the plan or not. I think they're trying to win now too.
I would hope sooner to go 4 years of just shit football.
Yeah, we've been dealing with the garbage for too long. I think that the one way to turn it around and turn around the national perception is just to win on the field. Start winning.
I'm worried about everything's going up price wise. My buddy, he was on the lower level. He just, when they did the relocation, he went to the club level. This blew my mind. He was down right where the Browns, they come in and out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
He was, if you're on the field running into the tunnel, he was just to the right, like 1 or 2 sections to the right. I sat with him once or twice last year down in his section. He moved to the club level and only paying about $100 more. He's like, they pretty much priced me out of that lower level. I think he was well over, what did he say? Over 200, somewhere around there per game. Something. And they go to the club. What are we? You're up. I'm 1,300, I think, up where I'm at. I'm in 511.
For 2 tickets? For 2 tickets?
For one.
No, where I'm at 503, row 27.
Okay.
So we're like 5 rows from the very top.
Oh,
okay. We're covered. And it's like $70 a game. So you're talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. No, it might be a little bit more. It might be 75 now.
I got mine I bought my tickets in 2007. I bought them off another man. Paid half price for the PSL at the time. It was $1,100 and I think $25. I paid $650. But when we had our tickets at 07, we were paying $50 a game. I think it's now up to $130 a game now. I think when I looked at, they just took my last payment. I think I paid just over $1,300 for my 1 ticket this year, and I'm at 511, which is about the 20-yard line ish, closest to the dog pound on the visitor side.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, everything's going up. Hopefully I make more money with my job, but if I can afford it, I know you've talked about budgeting properly and stuff. And
well, yeah, because I got cheap tickets, and I take the Rapid. I eat at Tower City, which is cheaper.
We used to do a tailgate, bring our food and stuff. For me, it's so funny because I'm doing the 4-month plan. I know some people do the 12-month plan, but I pay mine in 4 months. So they just took my last payment. So when the
Yep.
season starts, I'm that naive, like, oh, this is free. It's like, no, you just dropped
You already paid. You already paid.
yeah. But I'm like,
Well,
every game, I'm like, I'm not dishing out.
I pay half. My friend Harvey pays the other half, and it's not as bad. So he pays 1 month, I pay the other month. We go back and forth. And I remember like they had my card set up, but my card expired, and I got a new one, and I had to call them. And it was just my debit card.
One last thing I thought was funny. After the draft and stuff, I did get an email from my ticket rep. After the draft and stuff, we're excited today. There are some extra tickets if you're looking to upgrade for club and stuff. I'm like, you dirty rat, you. They're right away they're trying to push upgrade. We looked into it one time. There's that cardiac lounge. And because I'm like, well, would we want to move to one of those, get the all you can eat food and all that, maybe come here beforehand, not mess around. It's like $300 a game. Dude, I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy. I could eat. I'm like, I ain't eating $300 worth of food.
I could try,
but I'll be dead by the end of the year because,
we gain like 100 pounds. We look like Ken Carmen after Thanksgiving.
I did with my wife. We split it with a few people, the Cavs, years back. They had a club level and you had a gourmet buffet. I mean, this was a beautiful spread. And I've done club level at the Indians. I can't do that stuff anymore because when I do it, I feel like, oh, we got to get our money's worth. Like my wife or a buddy, they'd come and they'd eat a plate. I'm like, what are you doing? Get your ass up there. You better get up there 2 or 3 times. I just dropped $100 and something bucks. You're not eating one little plate of stuff here. So I can't do stuff like that because I'll just overeat.
I always knew how to budget because when I used to go to the Indians games before and I was a college student, I'd eat at home before I'd leave. I don't go to a game hungry. You just don't.
Well, remember what I told you. Season ticket holders, we got it back several years ago. They gave us that clear white bag, clear plastic bag. You can bring food into that stadium. No liquids, although we took
Did you take like a Subway sandwich that was wrapped up and you were
allegedly I heard somebody took a water bottle and wrapped it in a sub. I heard that when they were at the sub shop, they're like, can I have an extra wrapper? And got an extra wrapper from them, wrapped it up and threw it in there with his other sub and got through. But you can bring food. I brought sub sandwiches for games, nuts, peanuts or something, munchies or whatever. And, because that stuff adds up, man. It ain't cheap at these
No. And I really, like I said, I'll eat. Like what I did was before I went to the draft party, I ate at Tower City. I ate at the Japanese place. I got some teriyaki chicken, so I ate, and then I went to the draft thing and got a snack when I was there. So that was
I gotta say, we used to back in the day. Me and my buddy, we had our own tailgate group called the Muni Crew. We were in the Muni lot, and we kind of we're '90s guys, so we Motley Crue, the band, so we called ourselves Muni Crew. But there's several tailgate groups out there now that are really good guys. You got Eric with Top Dog. You got the Nats guys. I mean, you pay these guys $25-$30. You have all the food you can eat and beer you can drink. If you don't want to like mess around with all that, spending down there, these guys are all online. And Eric, the one thing I was going to tell you before was about Eric and his, the Mac for Mutts thing he does. That's coming up this month, coming up soon, isn't it? In May, I thought, or is it in June? Do you remember with Top Dog, his event?
May 31st.
May 31st. Okay, Mac for Mutts, I think he's calling it. He's still looking for people to do mac and cheese if you want to enter the contest and stuff. We went last year. You're not going to enter a mac and cheese?
No.
You don't have a recipe?
Do I look like I have a mac and cheese recipe?
No, but I do.
Yes.
I was pissed at him.
You were pissed at Eric?
Yeah, he was looking for some. But have you ever seen Nick Wilson on 92.3?
Yeah, I've seen him.
He's a big guy. I didn't realize he was a big guy either. He was looking for all these people to be guest judges for food.
And Nick Wilson was, or Eric?
No, Eric for one of his events, and I'm like, dude. I mean, Eric and I go way back. When I used to tailgate in the Muni lot, Eric was a few spots down from us. Him and another buddy. We had a mutual friend, and he saw our tailgate group. Really liked what we did, and we used to talk and stuff. And Yeah, Eric and I go way back, but I was a little bummed he didn't ask me to be a judge.
Oh, well, you should have
But
talked to him about it. You could
right,
have went to him. Yeah.
he probably would have. So anyway, but yeah, he's got
Uh,
that coming up. I'm gonna try and
yeah.
go to that this
Yeah.
year.
That's where we first met each other in person
Yep,
was at the
I
last
think.
year's. I had my wife and kids there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I met Sherry for the first time there, and Matt was Matt with her. Matt,
Yeah.
I believe, was there.
Matt was there and I got to
Lana,
meet.
Lana and Heather were there,
Yep.
and then you had
Amy
the
was there. What's that?
yep, Amy, the podcast guys.
There's like a bunch of podcasters. Like
Yeah.
Pharrell was there. The
Was he there?
Burning River guys were there. Yeah, because I went up to the Burning River Sports Talk guys and I said, I have the Burning River Browns thought. And they said, we
Right.
don't care. They're like, we
Yep.
don't care. I kind of told them, I said, I didn't know you guys, I didn't mean this. They were fine with it.
Was that the same Pharrell that's with you guys on
Yeah.
your okay? I didn't realize he was there last year. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I met a bunch of Twitter people and stuff. It was a lot of fun. He put on a good event. It was for a great cause,
Yeah.
the dog. So
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys that I finally got to meet in person, and it was fun. I had a good time.
absolutely.
I had a good time. So I'm looking forward to it at the end of the month, and I'm just, you know what, just looking forward to it. That's all. Just
Have
having
fun and get ready for the season.
Yeah, yeah, and
Enjoy
I think
this Cavs playoff run.
enjoy you guys. Let's have fun. Let's just have fun. They're supposed to be fun, and you know what? Just have fun. Let's enjoy it. I'm Mr. Positivity. Okay, I remember people having a meltdown over a West Coast trip late in the season. They thought we were going to fall, and it's like this team. They look so good against Miami. We'll see what they do against Indiana, but wow, there was just
I don't think anybody expected the season that they had this year.
no.
This season was unbelievable. One of the best seasons I've ever seen for a Cavs team.
Bush said on David Bacon's show, the Cleveland.com show, he said something that was interesting. He goes, there's teams that have gone from 3 to 4 wins to like 10, 11 wins the next season. I'm not saying the Browns are going to do it. It could happen.
It happens almost every year now, it seems like. I mean, look at Washington.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Why not us, right? Why not us?
Why not? Let's see what happens.
I'm with you. You convinced me. I'm positive.
Let's just see what happens. And like I said, because John's like, well, what if they only win one game and now we don't want to play? I was like, the schedule didn't even come out yet. Why are you even defaulting to that? He's like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, what the hell?
It's so funny because you see those schedules coming out for the next year, and of course your mind automatically thinks to the last year's team. You're like, oh, that's gonna be, and then you're like, wait, they got new rosters, players change, this and that. It's new
coaches
season.
change, players change, new season.
I mean, well, look at our season last year. You know, you remember seeing Washington. I'm like, oh, that's a win. It's Washington. They were terrible. They had the second or third pick in the draft.
We were terrible.
We were terrible. So you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know.
You don't know. And we thought we were going to be good, and we thought we had it figured out. But Camp Cupcake's not going to happen this year. And I think the players are going to be expected to earn their roles. But man, we've been on for an hour and 45 minutes. Let's start to wrap this up. Did you got any final thoughts there, Steve?
No, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
Sir.
Right. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I love your guys' show. I love the whole Fanatical Elves group, all the guys and gals.
Yeah.
Glad,
a lot of good people in here. And the Bougie Sports people were there too. We have a great relationship with them.
I love the Bougie Sports girls.
Yeah, I don't think Yvette was at there because I think it was the same day as the Kentucky Derby. I think she went to a Kentucky Derby event. That was last year.
What? Yeah, she wasn't at the event last year.
No,
she's in Youngstown, if I'm not mistaken. No.
Yeah, so's Heather.
I thought Heather was Columbus for some reason.
Heather's Youngstown. I thought Lana was Youngstown, but she said she's in Medina. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, she's local. And then Lysandra's moving. I think she said in June next month. She's moving back to Cleveland.
She's moving to Parma, as far as I know.
And then,
so what I'm doing, so we have a great relationship with them, great people. Most of the Browns podcasters, I said just about all of them. I'm Browns fans. I get along with. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But when I just said, people just default to the negative and get upset, and maybe it's just me being Mr. Positive all the time.
One thing before I forget about the network, Ethan, I enjoy a lot. He's newer.
Yeah.
He's been around for a little bit now. He does a bunch of shows. I know him and Heather. He's got his Going Nuclear. But a guy I just saw, I think it's on your guys' network, is What the Elf.
Yeah.
I caught
I
just a
never met
little
him.
bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check his podcast out tomorrow. I saw a little bit the other day, and I love the title, "What the Elf." I thought
Uh-huh.
that was pretty catchy. So, yeah, I'd like to see more of him. But no, appreciate you having me. Always
Well,
enjoy it.
thanks for coming out. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Hey, like I said, Fanatical Elves
Sherry.
Network. Yeah, Miss Sherry. Sherry, get well soon. She'll be back next week. We'll have more to talk about. And you know what? Thank you guys. I haven't seen anything. I've been kind of looking through, see if anything broke about Chubb. Really nothing official yet. So I don't know what's going to happen, but more than I'm not saying, I'm not making any predictions, but it depends on what he wants to do. But thank you all. We had a great draft. We have an opportunity to be a good team this year, or a much better team. Let's just take it one game at a time. I'll see you guys May 31st at the Top Dog Tailgate. What is it? It's Max for Mutt, mac and cheese for Mutts, or something.
I think he's doing a big
Eric, hit up the Top Dog Tailgate on Twitter. It's like West Third and Summit is his Twitter handle. And hey, thank you for joining us. And always remember, when the river burns, it burns brown and orange. Have a great night. Long show. Thank God I got the break.